friend of all Londoners, Mayor Sadiq Khan.
Thank you, sir. Well, they say that the sun shines on the righteous, and the sun is shining in Tower Hamlets. This is not a ring of steel, but a ring of love. And so it's a pleasure to be here with you today in the People's Republic of Tower Hamlets. Or as Sirajul and Unmesh call it, the center of the universe. Well, I'm here for a very important reason, because we have, in 3 days' time, in my view, the most difficult election, the hardest election we've had in the last 24 years of the mayoralty. Many of you will know I've been here again and again and again and again over the last 8 years for the simple reason communities like this need a Labour mayor on their side. And it is really important we understand the history of Tower Hamlets. Unmesh is right to remind us in 1936, the fascists, the black shirts, walked through this community, and it was the Labour Party, trade unions, Irish people, Jewish people, women's groups, residents coming together to stand up to the fascists. And that was a very brave thing for the residents of this community to do. I first got to know Unmesh 40 years ago. That's how old he is. But in the 1970s and 1980s, the National Front would be here in Tower Hamlets, would be beating up people who look like us, and would be putting out leaflets of hatred to divide our communities, and would be mobilizing those who are working class against those who are people of color. And again, this community came together to stand up to those racists 40 years ago. And you know how difficult it is to be in this community. Yes, there are fantastic opportunities, but there are challenges as well. And I'm so proud to have the sisters here at the front at last, really important, but also with the brothers as well, coming together over the last 3 days, the most difficult 3 days we're going to face for some time. Why? Because the choice on Thursday is the choice between somebody like me, who believes that our diversity is a strength, not a weakness, that it's something we should be proud of, we should celebrate, and we should embrace. And the only other person that can win is a divisive, hard right conservative candidate. That's the choice. It's a very close two-horse race on Thursday. And what's on the ballot paper, Sirajul is spot on. It's whether we extend and make permanent free school meals for all our children for the first time in history of this great city, whether we freeze TFL fares and keep them low like we've been doing, or allow them to be increased, whether we invest in record amounts of council homes or they be councilled, whether we invest in youth clubs and young people and in our police, and whether we have a mayor that unites our community or one that divides us. And those of you who've not seen the newspapers this weekend, The Observer published yesterday evidence from Facebook groups. There are Facebook groups across our city, and the Conservative candidate is a member of these Facebook groups, and they are racist, they are Islamophobic, and they are anti-Semitic. And the Conservative candidate has been condoning and encouraging those sorts of things. She's somebody who proudly supports Donald Trump. She's somebody who proudly and publicly liked Enoch Powell. She's somebody who, in response to Lee Anderson's Islamophobic, anti-Muslim and racist words, said the only hurty words. What's the big deal? And that's why the next 3 days are so important. If you meet somebody at the doorstep and they say, I'm not sure they're going to vote, remind them of the importance of voting, why it matters this Thursday. If you meet somebody who's thinking about voting for the Greens or the Lib Dems or an independent party, remind them the only person that can beat the Tory candidate is the Labour candidate. And I'd remind you of this. Many of you contacted me after October the 7th and condemned unequivocally the actions of Hamas and the deaths in Israel. But also since then, we've seen the bloodshed in Gaza. And you will know that early in October, all those months ago, I called for a ceasefire. Why? Because we could see what's going to happen. We could see what's going to happen. And so, of course, I think those hostages must be released. But at the same time, this madness in Gaza has got to stop. There's got to be a ceasefire now, 6 months too late. We've got to stop selling weapons to Israel. We've got to make sure that we come together and condemn unequivocally anti-Semitism and Islamophobia and the innocent lives being lost in Israel in the past and in Gaza as well. And that's the joy of Tower Hamlets. As a community, you unite, you come together. The next 3 days is about reminding this community about the importance of voting. Listen, there's a possibility we'll wake up on Friday with a hard right Tory mayor. And I would remind you Unmesh and I and Siraj are old enough to remember 2008.
Mm.
In 2008, people told us there is no way Ken Livingstone can lose. They told us there is no way that right-wing buffoon can win. For 8 years, he was our mayor. For 8 years. I remember in 2016 being told there is no way this country is going to vote to leave the European Union. There is no way at all it's going to happen. This country voted to leave the European Union. I remember in November 2016, many of us, particularly the sisters and I, were looking forward to a female president of the United States of America, Hillary Clinton. Didn't happen. Donald Trump was elected. And that's why it's so really important, all of us, whether you're Muslim, Christian, members of an organized faith or not, whether you're of Pakistani origin, Bengali origin, whether you are white, brown, black, we work our socks off over the next 3 or 4 days because we know that we are the glue that unites this community. We know what happens when people who want to divide us win power. We've seen it, whether it's in the town hall, whether it's in city hall, whether it's in government. And I tell you this, I am so proud to come here again and again and again to meet activists. I know how hard it is to be an activist, you know? I know how hard it is. You work your socks off every day, every week, every month. The one thing I can promise you, if I have the privilege of being re-elected on Thursday, I'm going to carry on being your mayor, carry on being on your side, carry on being something
Inshallah.
I'll tell you this, nothing worth having takes anything but hard work. Hard work is what it's all about. We're going to be, somebody who work hard over the next 3 days. The one feeling all of us must share at 1 minute past 10 on Thursday is exhaustion. Is being knackered, is being tired. The two words none of us must say on Friday, the two words none of us must say is if only. If only when Siraj WhatsApp me to say come and knock on doors, I didn't ignore him. If only I didn't block Unmesh and return his calls when he rang me to knock on doors. If only I delivered more leaflets. If only. If only. So thank you for what you've done so far. We've done the hard work. We know who the promises are. We know who they are. The trick now is to remind them to vote on Thursday. Take your passport, take your driving license, take your freedom pass, because the Tories have changed the rules to make it easier for them to win. But this community, since 1936, has shown we will stand up to those who try and divide us in defiance, as Unmesh says. So thanks for what you've done so far. Thanks for what we're going to do for the next 3 days. We don't stop until 10 p.m. on Thursday. Let's go knock on some doors. Thank you very much.
Yeah.